I am honestly feeling a mix of relief and anxiety about our latest quarterback room drama. The front office just slammed the door shut on a lingering trade request from a highly drafted player trying to secure his spot on the depth chart. While his recent performance in the preseason opener had flashes of brilliance, the costly mistakes are keeping the Horseshoe faithful very cautious about our backup situation. Please hit that like button, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more Colts updates. Anthony Richardson is staying in Indianapolis after general manager Chris Ballard confirmed the team does not intend to trade the quarterback. Selected 4th overall in the 2023 NFL Draft, Richardson arrived with massive expectations as our potential franchise cornerstone. However, his tenure has been turbulent, highlighted by the front office declining his 5th-year option this past offseason, effectively making him an impending free agent for 2026. After he submitted a trade request earlier this year, many of us feared his days in our uniform were numbered. And I'll be straight with you, hearing that the team plans to keep 3 quarterbacks on the active roster feels like a strange compromise for a former top pick who is currently battling for a backup spot behind starter Daniel Jones. This news broke around August 10th, 2026, and it leaves us wondering about his actual future here. Richardson himself seems focused on simply securing his role, recently admitting he is unsure of the internal situation while trying to stamp his foot on this team. Does he really want to settle for 3rd string behind Riley Leonard if it comes to that? Watching him play against the Patriots on August 13th, where he tallied 145 passing yards and 1 rushing touchdown alongside some costly turnovers, proved he still has plenty of work to do. Head coach Shane Steichen praised his efficient movement while noting that the mistakes hurt the team. As fans, it is hard to reconcile the high draft pedigree with his current standing in the depth chart. If the goal is truly to move forward without a trade, how can the coaching staff realistically balance the development of multiple signal callers while competing to win every single week? Keeping 3 quarterbacks on the active roster sounds like a logistical nightmare, especially when you consider the roster construction and the competitive pressure mounting in the building right now. Why would the front office prioritize depth over clarity at such a high-stakes position? We are looking at a scenario where a former top 5 pick is fighting for his professional life alongside other contenders like Riley Leonard. This situation grew out of a turbulent offseason where the decision to decline his 5th-year option signaled a major shift in how the organization viewed its long-term future. And this is the part that gets me. The team is banking on a backup battle while the individual himself remains remarkably detached from the trade chatter, focusing solely on stamping his mark on this roster. His performance against New England really captured the paradox of his current standing. Completing 11 of 14 passes for 145 yards shows the raw talent we all fell in love with back in 2023. Yet the fumble and early interception serve as jarring reminders of the inconsistency that led us here. Coach Shane Steichen was right to acknowledge that those turnovers hurt the team, but he also recognized the efficient movement behind the snap. Does holding on to a player who requested a trade actually help the locker room culture? It is a gamble on potential versus the reality of a 2026 impending free agency. If he is forced into a 3rd-string role, the transition will be a true test of his professional character. But for now, the front office seems content to let this competition play out on the practice field. We're left wondering if this is a genuine attempt at development or just a holding pattern until something better materializes for both the franchise and the player. That covers the immediate news update. So let us move to the bigger picture and what this actually means for our squad this season. Ballard keeping a player who explicitly requested a trade signals a high-stakes gamble on locker room harmony during a year where every snap determines our playoff life. Here's where it gets interesting. Carrying 3 quarterbacks creates a roster logjam that prevents us from addressing other positions of need. If our general manager is committed to this trio, we lose flexibility with salary cap room and depth at spots that might have helped us close out tighter games against rivals. Think about the upcoming schedule and the pressure of competing for a postseason spot. Can we afford to have a former top 5 pick occupying a roster spot while learning a new role under coach Shane Steichen? It forces us to wonder if this creates a distraction for a team trying to find its rhythm before the real season kicks off. Does this configuration provide the best chance for us to win, or is it merely avoiding a difficult breakup? Our standing in the division depends on stability at the top of the depth chart, and this move injects uncertainty rather than providing a clear path forward. If the coaching staff forces a division of reps between these men, the lack of a primary focus could stall the offense before it even starts. For veteran fans who have watched this organization navigate transition years, seeing this level of indecision regarding a young signal caller feels like a significant shift in philosophy. Does it really help the culture if the person third on the chart still carries the weight of a franchise cornerstone? Prioritizing roster continuity might seem like a prudent strategy for a front office, but does keeping 3 quarterbacks on the active roster truly serve our long-term goals? The truth is, General Manager Chris Ballard is betting that Anthony Richardson and Riley Leonard can develop behind starter Daniel Jones without disrupting the internal hierarchy. Supporters would argue that this approach protects our investment in a former 4th overall draft pick, especially considering he is still refining his skills under head coach Shane Steichen. Holding on to a talent with such high upside despite his turnover issues theoretically guards against the risk of losing a potential starter for nothing. Yet, the downside is equally glaring. By carrying this many signal callers, we sacrifice precious depth at other positions that could determine our success this season. Analysts around the league have pointed out that while Richardson showed flashes during the preseason opener against the New England Patriots, his fumble and interception highlight a lack of consistency that is hard to ignore. Many wonder if splitting repetitions between 3 men actually stunts their individual growth. My honest take here is that this management plan feels more like a hesitant holding pattern than a definitive step toward competitive excellence. While Richardson himself claims he is simply focused on stamping his foot on the team, his status as an impending 2026 free agent makes this entire situation feel precarious. Is it wise to dedicate roster spots to players who might not even be part of our future? Or are we simply delaying a necessary change? Watching how this trio balances their individual ambitions while the staff tries to maintain order will be a definitive storyline for us. If we are truly building a championship foundation, I suspect this current arrangement will face intense scrutiny as the regular season begins to take shape. When you combine the front office stance with the current roster status, a clearer picture emerges regarding our path ahead. Chris Ballard has explicitly stated the Indianapolis Colts will not trade Anthony Richardson, choosing instead to keep 3 quarterbacks on the active roster. This commitment to maintaining depth suggests the organization wants to preserve its investment in the former 4th overall pick through the 2026 season. And I cannot stress this enough. This approach effectively forces a high-stakes internal competition that will test the resilience of both Richardson and Riley Leonard as they battle behind starter Daniel Jones. As supporters, we should approach this season with cautious optimism mixed with patience, because the team is clearly prioritizing player development over an immediate personnel change. It is tough to reconcile the high pedigree of a top draft choice with his current status as a 3rd-string contender. Yet this is the reality we face today. His performance against the New England Patriots, while flashes of talent were present, ultimately underscored the inconsistency that the coaching staff needs to refine. We are watching a deliberate, if unconventional, experiment play out in real time under Shane Steichen. Does the decision